Morning, everybody. Welcome to Love Wins Live Forum. My name is Rana Bonifascio, Editor-in-Chief of Inspirations.ph. And of course, with me is Ms. Sharon Fabian, Managing Director of Themes and Motifs. Good morning, Ms. Sharon.
Good morning, Rana, and good morning to everybody who's tuned in right now. Thank you for watching us on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel, Themes and Motifs TV. And it's Saturday. Is this the last Saturday of March, Rana? I believe so.
Oh yes, it is. It is. It is
the last Saturday.
So we're almost done with Q1. And of course, we know that it's been a year into the pandemic, and we cannot go on with this show without, looking at all the realities that are present before us. I hope that as you're watching us, that you are sheltered safely at home or maybe in your office if you have to go out and work. But today we're talking about these realities, no? These inescapable realities. Pag tumingin ka po sa Facebook mo or on your social media, I think lahat tayo, pare-pareho tayo ng nababasa na news. And of course, alam din po natin, if you are in Metro Manila or the provinces around Metro Manila, we are currently in a GCQ bubble or ang tinatawag na NCR+. Okay, so
Yes.
Today's episode is all about that.
Oo. Ayan. Kasi we cannot deny the fact na there is a surge right now. Okay? And Rona, when we started this live forum na to, no, ang goal was really to encourage people to na hashtag tuloy ang kasal. Yan. So, and we've seen from last year when this pandemic started, there have been a lot of progress because I remember the first couple that we interviewed, there were only 5 people allowed in the wedding. Kasama na yung si father, yung mag-officiate. So only 5 people. And then we interviewed that couple. And then we progressed to 10 people in the wedding. And then up to 30 people in the wedding. And then naging parang percentage na of the venue capacity.
Yes.
Yan. So yan. So I think ang ganda ng naging progress, especially for the events industry, the wedding suppliers, and of course, syempre yung yung mga soon to wed. So people were really very hopeful, naging excited because they can have the wedding of their dreams. Na it's not your grand big wedding in terms of attendance, but you can still do a lot of things with a smaller guest size. But now, let's call it kasi kinol na naman ng ating DOH, there is a surge.
Yes.
And the numbers are quite high. Hindi lang siya surge, di ba? I think yesterday, there was about, ilan ba yun, Rona?
9,838 new cases.
Yan. So 9,838 new cases. And if you listen to the predictions of our scientists, medyo hindi maganda yung napipain na scenario. But again, a lot of this has a lot to do with kung mangyayari yun or hindi. Has a lot to do with how we will behave, no, as a community, and how our government, of course, will be handling yung implementation of the guidelines that they have rolled out, and of course, nandiyan may factor ng vaccine, etc. So this morning is really very, I have been looking forward to this for the last few days because I have questions myself, and I am sure that the couples who have been directly affected, as we know, last Sunday afternoon, the IATF issued, kaya kilala siya sa lahat ng Resolution 104. Yeah, so which has a great impact on especially the events that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. Hindi na nga next 2 weeks kasi ito na yung week 1. So hanggang April 4. So whether that remains in place or that will be lifted or that will be further extended pa will depend on probably the numbers again, yung number of infection rate natin, the number of active cases, and anong mangyayari in itong last week supposedly ng implementation ng Resolution 104. And I guess, Rona, we can spend the whole morning na magpalitan tayo ng opinion. But we want yung talagang person in authority to be able to guide us through this. And ang guest natin is no longer a guest, hindi na siya stranger sa Love Wins Live Forum. And I'm so glad to have him. Nakakalungkot lang nga because the last time we had him was when the memo came out.
Yes.
That na 30% na. And even for the mice, di ba, like us that we produce trade shows, very hopeful na ang scenario. And we said nga na, we will invite you back, Robert, once they have the guidelines again na, paano na yung implementation ng mga yan. Pero, but it's good to have him back, even if ang pag-uusapan natin is parang 10 steps backwards tayo again, because he would be the best resource person talaga to enlighten us on the guidelines that have been issued and ano yung real scenario. Ito talaga real talk. If you are a wedding supplier or you know of any wedding supplier or a couple who is going to get married or scheduled to get married this month or the month of May, I think this episode is really, really important for you to watch. No? Kasi you will need the information that we will be discussing here. So I think this is the right time to call in our guest this morning.
Yes, of course. He's the president of Robert Blancaflor Group Incorporated and the spokesperson of National Live Events Coalition Philippines. So please welcome once again to the Love Wins Live Forum, Mr. Robert Blancaflor.
Hi, good morning, Sharon and Rona, and to all those watching. Okay, hope you guys are having a great weekend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ang hopeful ng greeting ni Robert, but syempre, like we said, no, what we're talking about today is our reality, our current reality, and how do we move forward? Because I think all of us want to move forward, and how we can do our part, diba? Syempre, in the wedding industry, the last few times that Sir Robert was here, he kept saying that what we do as an industry really affects everything. Or kumbaga kung ano yung gagawin mo sa isang event, meron siyang major effect dun sa guidelines or sa mangyayari. And we've seen that, right? We've seen that happening. So, Sir Robert, paano ba? How do we start this?
I think, at umpisahan na natin kasi ang nating rounds to cover.
I sent you the file, right? Let's do a brief, a brief there. Okay, what type of events are actually allowed now? Okay, so basically, based on IATF 104, the type of events that are allowed are the MICE, the essential events, wherein it has a capacity of 30%, and then maximum of 8 hours. I think it's in the next slide. There, essential meetings, 30% capacity. However, this is only valid for NCR Plus, the GCQ bubble, because others, we're talking national, others who are under MGCQ, can still do more than that. In fact, kagabi, napanood ko yung isang beauty pageant somewhere in Mindanao. Okay? So basically, this is only for NCR Plus, but those that are under MGCQ can always refer to their LGU because the rules are forever changing. Okay? Depending on the search, depending on the cases, for the LGU can always put a stop on it and then can just reassess things. In addition to this, under also IATF 104, weddings, yung mga binyag, they call it KBL, di ba? Kasal, binyag, libing, okay? So social events would only be limited to 10 persons. We are back to our MECQ level or to the real GCQ level, and then it's only allowed for 3 hours. Okay, as much as possible, people are recommending outdoor instead of indoor. Obviously, because, let me put it outright and bluntly, because this virus is airborne, right? So to a certain extent, it is airborne. That's why they've stopped anything that's indoor. Okay, so it has to be outdoor. So basically, those are the two events. Those are the two basic provisions in the resolution that affect really the events and the wedding business. Okay. Again, you can go back to your LGU, because the LGU would know well if they have new guidelines. You look at Davao. Davao yesterday, from 30% capacity, narrowed it now to 25 people per event. Okay, I know one in another one. I think Baguio is also coming out. Pampanga is coming out with new resolutions on mass gatherings. Kasi, in reality, Sharon and Rona, tinututukan talaga yung mass gatherings. Okay?
Yes.
And whether we like it or not, we belong to that category. Okay? I mean, it is something that we have to accept. We are in the even in the in the categories of industries wherein that are prioritized, we are not in that category. Okay? So, masaya naman tayo dito. Yung point ko ganito, masaya tayo sa ginagawa natin. Okay, hindi tayo pumapasok ng 8 to 5. Okay, Monday to Friday. Kung gusto natin magtrabaho lang ng weekend, trabaho tayo ng weekend, masaya tayo. Pero yun yung trade-off natin. Di ba?
Yes.
Yun yung trade-off natin eh. Okay, we are freelancers to a certain extent. Even though may kumpanya ka, freelancer ka, because ako, kung ayaw ko yung kliyente, hindi ko tatanggapin. Hindi ko magawa yan kung nagtatrabaho ako sa, let's say, isang telecommunication.
Yes.
Isang telecommunication na minura-mura na ako, di ba? Wala pa rin ako magagawa. Pero hindi. In our case, that's really our choice.
Yes.
So we also have to accept that part, that we are not part of that essential industry. Okay? Because if we don't accept that part, then we can never move forward. Okay? So that is very, very eye-opener. Okay? Some people think, hindi ako inalagaan ng gobyerno. Ikaw kasi, siyempre, ako rin. Gusto ko kasi magtrabaho lang ako kung kailan ko gusto magtrabaho. Okay? Ganun lang yan kasimple. Okay? Gusto ko ng magaganda. Gusto ko ng masaya palagi. Okay? Ayoko may boss ako. Okay? Ayoko yung nagre-report ako, nagta-time in ako. Ayoko yun. Okay? Gusto ko ng different. And the government acknowledges that. Okay? The trade and industry acknowledges that there are people who really want to do that kind of a work environment. Okay? So, sinasabi ko lang to because this will all make us realize na, may trade-off talaga. Di ba? May trade-off. Okay? So, it's not all like masama. Okay? It's not all like negative. May trade-off. Okay? Masaya tayo sa ginagawa natin. Okay? So, yun
question, Robert.
Yes.
Ako, before you move further, okay. Point out ko lang, hindi naman tayo nag-uusap lahat, no? Naka-stripes tayo. Para white and red. Ngayon ko na nakita. I saw us on screen. Ito na totoo kong question. So, social events. Sabi mo nga, limited, you describe our line of work. So, linawin na natin. Are we considered essential workers?
We are not frontliner essential workers. I think that is something, but we are economic drivers. Okay? Because our contribution to the economy is huge. Okay? We technically belong to the tourism industry. Okay? And that's a given. Okay? Tourism has already accepted that fact, that we are one in the tourism industry. But then and again, our line of business is mass gathering. So in a pandemic, in a virus that is as wide as this one, as crucial as this one, and as serious as this one, we are the first to go and perhaps the last
to come back.
Return. Yeah.
Next question ko, Robert. Kasi we will delve into really yung weddings and social events. Earlier you mentioned na ito tayo, NCR, no, yung mga bubble area, naka-bubble. Essential meetings lang allowed. Allowed ang MICE, but only essential meetings. Bridal fairs. Essential meetings ba ang bridal fairs?
Bridal fair is technically a consumer-based event. And based on the last this clarification of DTI, yes, anything that's consumer-based is essential. Okay? But right now, what they were saying is that consumer-based consumer-based events should be done online. And then and again, 30%, di ba?
Yes.
A lot of organizations have already released their stand on that, including NLEC, wherein we are saying that if possible to postpone, okay, during this bubble period, which I hope will not be extended, but with the way things are, it may be extended. Okay.
Okay. So yun. Hindi no, but for those who are watching, para ano ba yan? Umpisa pa lang, para ang bigat. But it's not really to cause additional burden, especially sa ating mga fellow wedding suppliers, but it's to clarify things kasi you go online, ang dami-daming information. So you are hearing it straight from people that sila Robert, ang NLEC, na nagko-coordinate with the right government institutions for this. So we are here to clarify a lot of things para hindi yung kasi sabi ni ganito, sabi ni ganyan. Yes. So this is yung truth, okay? So that we can move accordingly. Yeah.
And I think, Sharon, in addition to that, I think head-on collision na kasi because of the surge. Dati kasi medyo pa easy lang tayo. Ngayon, it's affecting us. It's nearer to our homes. We've known people who are affected. We've known people who have left this world because of the virus. Okay, so it has become more personal at this point. Okay, so I think yun yung nagiging very important factor why some people are also holding off because naging na siya, nasa vicinity mo na Dati nasa kabilang island pa. Ngayon nandun na sa isla mo, 'di ba? So,
yes, true.
It's affecting people that you are close with, that you are close to, people that it's affecting your family, okay? So, tinatawag namin ito head-on collision, okay? Let's accept the reality, because once again we accept the reality, then we are able to find means and solutions on how to prevent, okay? On how to prevent recurrence, diba? So ganun lang yun kasimple. We learn from our mistakes, okay?
Yes. And thank you so much for commenting. A lot of you are saying thank you so much for all the information. Ige Cruises, thank you. Good morning to everybody who's saying good morning. And I think 20 minutes in, alam nyo na po kung gaano kaming kaseryoso sa topic na ito. So this means that if you know somebody who would benefit from this, please do send this stream to them. Invite them to watch with us right now. Or kayo mismo, kung meron kayong tanong for Sir Robert, hindi po kami ni Ms. Sharon ang sasagot dahil wala po kaming sagot. But Sir Robert is here right now. He's live. He's sharing his time with us. So if I were you, I would take advantage of being able to ask him right now. Ayan.
Okay, so let's go, Rona, to the recommendations of these are essential events and safety standards quick guide, including weddings and socials. So always we know this: mask and face shield, wear it properly, and then we recommend that you have to replace this every 4 hours. Hindi naman yung 2 araw na yung face mask mo ginagamit mo pa rin, di ba? Okay, people should be aware.
Whether or we're talking about surgical na, no?
We're recommending surgical mask. Okay.
At the very least.
At the very least, yes. Okay, and change it every 4 hours. So I would recommend for organizers to have a mask. Di ba? Meron kang mask, meron kang mga dessert station. Gumawa ka na ng mask station, di ba? May mga mask stations na. You can be as creative as much as you can, so people will try to encourage people to use it. Okay. Because later on, I will discuss also the importance of a safety officer, because a safety officer should be the one who makes kulit. Oy, palitan mo na yan. Okay? Palitan, because that is very, very critical. Okay?
Just to be clear, ito yung surgical mask. Tama, Robert?
Yes.
This one. This one.
Yes.
Okay, so there are a lot of fashionable masks out there.
Pwede ka mag-surgical mask, tapos maglagay ka ng fashionable mask.
Yeah.
Double
Pero
mask.
ito.
Oo, double
double
mask.
Oo, pero uulitin lang po namin, wag po yung may butas. Yun lang.
Huwag yung may butas. Even the DOH has recommended na huwag gumamit yung may butas, okay?
Yes.
Yung sinasabi nila na may respirator, wag yun.
Also that, yes. Hindi din siya pwede in establishment. So, I think now they're talking about double masking. So, having a surgical mask and then the cloth mask on top to help with the fit. Tama po.
Correct. And then next to that is, of course, physical distancing. Alam mo, there are so many cases. Let me give you the mask and the physical distancing cases. Merong isang freelance photographer na nag-test sila, nag-negative sila lahat. So nung nandoon na sila sa event, wala. Akbay-akbay. Di ba? Kwento-kwento. Yung iba hindi na mask kasi nagpapapicture. Okay? Ito pa hindi ko maintindihan. Okay? Pasalamat ka na may event ka na. Huwag mo na lang ipagmamalaki sa iba na may event ka. Di ba? I mean, honestly, okay? Ilang buwan na lang, tago mo muna, ilabas mo lahat yan para marami kang content later on, okay? Pero in the meantime, makisabay ka muna, okay? Nangyari doon, it was a shoot na hindi nila sinunod. Akala nila negative sila lahat. Hindi sila nag-physical distancing, kwento-kwentuhan, walang mask. After the event, 2 days after the event, may nag-positive and then naging 12 sila. Okay? And 2 became serious. Okay? So again, importante na even though you are tested, that even though if you are an event, make sure that you practice physical distancing and that you wear your mask all the time, except of course when you're eating, diba? I mean, and drinking, okay?
I think this is where we see that test doesn't mean you can skip any safety protocol.
Correct, yes.
Tingnan po namin, kahit magpa-test po kayo, kailangan pa rin po sundin itong lahat.
Okay. Okay, clean hands. Alam na natin to. Dapat yung mga organizer, di ba yung iba, and it happens, yung iba naghahanap ng, pwede ka rin magdala ng sarili mo. Okay, sanitize, everything. Important, yes. Sanitize. Every 20 minutes, tama yan. Ako nasanay ako, just to give you an example, 10 years na ako naglilinis ng kamay ko ng alcohol. I don't know, I have this thing. Kasi na-allergy ako before. So sa bag ko, sa office ko, sa kwarto ko, sa banyo ko, sa kotse ko, may alcohol ako talagi, Sharon and Rona. Yan. May ganito. Ganun talaga ako. At saka, parang ang weird ko nga dati. Sinabi nga ng isang staff ko, bakit naman pati kami parang ginaganon mo ng alcohol? Sabi ko, hindi sa ganon. Okay? Parang, I have this thing na parang, di ba? Dahil madumi yung, dahil of course we are in a third world country, hindi naman lahat, hindi mamalinis, okay? So alcohol talaga is basic, okay? So importante na maglinis ka ng. So alam na natin lahat to and then do it properly, yun ang sinasabi dyan, and frequently.
Robert, yung hindi nakakaintindi, gaano katagal yung 20 seconds? Okay, kasi minsan, gano'n lang, di ba? Kailangan water soap, 20 seconds. If you don't know how long that takes, kumanta ka ng 2 happy birthday.
Hindi, mag-TikTok ka na lang. Mag-TikTok ka every time maglilinis ka ng kamay mo. Okay? That's 20 seconds. Sigurado ako. Okay?
Yes.
Ako ang sasabihin ko.
Hindi, may TikTok ka na. May content ka na. Okay? Mag-a-add ka pa followers. Who knows? Baka yumaman ka pa dyan sa paglinis-linis ng kamay. Di ba? Okay.
Kumembot ka na lang. Kumendeng at kumembot ka.
Okay, be creative. Oh my God, we belong to the creative industry. Okay? Alam natin lahat yan. Venue disinfection, has to be done. Yung organizer has to make sure na to remind venue and then make sure that it's in the plan kung paano talaga disinfect ang venue. Kasi yung ibang venue nagtitipid. Okay? So pag nagtitipid yung okay na yan, may mask naman sila, may face shield naman sila. Hindi, importante yung venue disinfection. So as an organizer, it is very critical. It is your role, also the safety officer, to make sure that the venue is disinfected all the time. Okay?
What is the standard? Like how often are you supposed to disinfect?
6 hours. Yung recommendation, some venue na ganda talaga 6 hours. Okay?
Okay. 6 hours.
Okay.
Pag continuous yung event, 6 hours.
Yes.
Pero pag meron ka namang weddings right now na kahit sa social na 30% capacity na 3 hours lang, so okay lang. Okay lang within the 6 hours ka.
Okay.
Okay.
This is the next one.
Yeah, no sharing, lahat yan. Okay, alam na natin yan. Bring your own stuff as much as possible, especially if you're eating individual meals, no buffet. Ito na naman sinasabi.
Ayan. Ito, Ito ang controversial, Robert, yung buffet na yan. What is talaga, is it just a recommendation o yun talaga dapat ang ginagawa, no buffet?
Yung sinasabi ni DOT ganito, wala yung buffet na ako pupunta sa buffet at saka kukuha. Okay? Other DOT regional offices are allowing yung nakahiwalay yung mga buffet individually, merong may acrylic siya, pero hindi ikaw kukuha. Served buffet.
Okay? Managed buffet, tama ba?
Managed buffet. Pero only in certain LGUs.
Okay.
Hindi siya standard. Because as far as the DOT is concerned, for DOT accredited, kasi dalawang venues Merong DOT accredited na bawal yung buffet kahit managed buffet. Merong kang LGU accredited na hindi DOT accredited na itong sinasabi nila, since hindi sila DOT accredited, they will follow LGU policies. Okay? So, ina-allow sila mag-buffet, which for me, dapat consistent yun di ba? Kung anong sinabi ni DOT, dapat yun na rin yung LGU. Alam mo naman dito, ang daming layers. So, meron talagang DOT because DOT is not a police agency. It's only LGU who has the police power. So, sinasabi, hindi naman lahat na nakarehistro and may mayor's permit ay nagpa-accredit sa Department of Tourism. Okay? Ito yung minumove namin. Dapat pag tourism industry ka, dapat automatic may accreditation ka. Di ba? Ito yung magandang ginawa ni Davao. Ngayon, kailangan ka magpa-accredit sa LGU na live event industry ka. Bibigyan ka ng separate permit, especially the organizer. Pag wala ka ngayong permit sa LGU ng Davao, hindi ka makagawa ng event. Okay? So Davao is doing it correctly. Okay? This is based on the last discussion we had with the OT. This is really the way to go. Except na marami talaga yung hindi sumusunod. Just look at hotels, look at inns, look at accommodation. Sinasabi ng DOT, marami pa rin dyan yung patay-sindi. Alam mo yon, di ba?
Yes, true. Amen.
Yung patay-sindi na yan na accommodation, hindi naman accredited yan ng DOT. So paano nila habulin? Pero si DOT, hindi niya pwedeng mahabol si patay-sindi kasi si patay-sindi nakarehistro sa LGU, may mayor's permit. Di ba? So ito yung impact ngayon, ito yung effect na ito yung nagiging issue kung bakit sinasabi ng iba, nagpa-follow kami sa IATF rules, sa DOT rules. Bakit yung mga yan hindi nagpa-follow? See? So, kung hindi sila nagpa-follow, di wag na rin kami mag-follow.
No, follow pa din.
Exactly.
Yes, saan naman tayo pupulutin noon if we have that kind of
yan yung reality, yun yung mentality ng iba na dapat maiba. Okay? Because 1 year na tayo sa pandemic. Okay? 1 year na tayo na sobrang tipid, na walang kinikita. We can understand that people at this point, nagpa-pile up na yung mga utang.
Yung inis nila, hindi ba? Parang we all know and we all admit na lahat po tayo, purgang-purga na po tayo sa kaka-stay at home. And lahat po tayo, pagod na po tayo sa all the things we have to do. But it doesn't mean, no? I guess that's the mentality that Robert is saying. It doesn't mean that just because somebody is getting away with it, na you should also. Kasi yun din may kapalit din yun. Yung pagsunod mo or yung to follow the IATF rules and resolutions, the reward is in itself. Yung pagsunod mo, meaning less people will get sick, di ba?
And not just that, let me also take the example of Davao. Si Davao, monitor niya yung social media ngayon. Yung violators. Okay? In fact, we've heard, di ba? Alam na natin, social media is so powerful. Diba? Kasi sinasabi na nga ni DOH, kung sino dyan yung nagpapavaccinate ng mas yan na hindi frontliner, i-report nyo na. Okay? I think that's gonna be really the trend. Okay? We need to police each other. If we try to police each other, then the government will have trust in the industry, okay, that we're doing the right thing. And then, so yung compassion nandyan eh. Alam naman kasi nila talaga that, we have problems. Ang dami nating bayarin. Okay? Ang dami. And then the reality of this also, Sharon, Rona, ang dami nag-pivot. Pero ang dami rin pumalpak.
Yes.
Ang dami rin pumalpak. Anong ginawa? Lahat nagbenta ng halaman. Okay? Nagbenta ng pagkain. Okay? Ang daming nalugi. Kasi hindi naman talaga natin main business yan eh. Nag-pivot lang tayo. Okay? So kung hindi mo alam how to manage a business properly, kahit na nag-pivot ka, mas nalugi sila. So yun yung mas maraming nainis, di ba? Nag-pivot na nga ako.
Wala pa din.
Wala pa rin. Okay? So ano na lang gagawin ko? Kailangan ko kumita. Okay? Di ba? Ganun lang kasimple. Kailangan ko kumita. So ano ginawa nila? They went around the guidelines. Ito yung sinasabi ni Sharon. Diba? They were forced to come up with a solution, and that solution was not consistent with what is safety, what is safe, and health beneficial to all. Okay. Contract tracing, okay, there is a standard stay safe.ph, very critical, because if something happens, then you already have it. I'm so happy that this has been made as a standard, because before ang dami-daming contact tracing, di ba? Naguguluhan ka na. Okay? So ngayon buti na yung isa. Alam mo dapat, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not gonna blame anyone, okay? Pero alam mo dapat palang ginawa na to ng matagal na. Okay? Matagal na. Okay? Okay. The next two slides I will discuss are perhaps the two most important. Kailangan mo ng certified safety officer. Marami na dyan na nagpa-certify. In our company, we have 2 certified officers. Ginastusan namin, nagpa-certify kami. In all our events now, we have certified officers that are in-house.
Saan po nagpapa-certify?
Meron siya sa DOLE. If you go to the page of NLEC, meron doon link. Okay? Meron yan kasi Safety Officer 1, Safety Officer 2, Safety Officer 3. So mag-start muna kayo sa 1. Mura lang siya, around 1,800, 2,000. It's a one-day certification online na approved by DOLE. Kasi sinasabi namin, once the Eddie Garcia bill, again, may Eddie Garcia bill at saka may freelancer protection bill. Yung Eddie Garcia bill, ito yung nangyari, the reason why it was passed because of the Eddie Garcia case. It was only because of, di ba, the film lang siya dapat. So ngayon, ginawa ng Senate, isama mo na lahat, live events, audiovisual, film, lahat. So we now belong to the Eddie Garcia bill. Now, of course, it's finalized, it's not yet into law, but they're really finalizing the final draft of that. This is in addition to the freelance protection na sa third reading na approved na, so Senate na lang siya bago pirmahan ni Presidente. Okay? Which is, ito yung sinasabi namin, ito yung mga nangyari during the pandemic. Okay? Dahil sa pandemic na to, lahat ng freelancers are now protected. Okay? This is NLEC was all about. Okay? NLEC is, we're not here to be popular. We're not here to be ganito, ganyan. We're here to protect the industry and the workers. Okay? So, importante yung certified safety office because eventually that will all be implemented. In fact, 2018 pa yan, Sharon and Rona, na rule.
Yeah.
2018 pa yan sa DOLE. Ginawa natin, hindi natin sinunod. Syempre, hindi naman kasi sinabi ni DOLE na kailangan mo, di ba? Nag-pass lang ng bill, walang ganon. Yung mga tao, busy gumawa ng events, okay, busy gumawa ng ganon, hindi nila na-realize na kailangan pala ng SO, di ba? Safety officer. Yes. Dahil sa pandemic, na-open up lahat yan. Okay? Much more. So ngayon, I think this is going to be the moving forward, you need to do safety officer. Yung mga hotels, meron yan. So kung minsan, if you go to it's like, let's mention, Shangri-La Fort, diba medyo stricto sila? Because their safety officers are very strict, are certified. Okay? Yung iba naman na hotels, walang pakialam. Okay? May narinig, remember, I'll go back to that case wherein yung 6 at saka 12 yung nag-positive, nangyari doon, walang safety officer. Walang nag-remind ng tao kasi kung meron kang safety officer, then walang problema.
So, ang safety officer ba sa venue dapat hinahanap? Or kunwari in the sense of events, ang event organizer dapat may safety officer din?
Dapat yung venue meron talaga. That's already standard. So pag gumagawa ka ng venue, sabihin mo, para makatipid ka, may safety officer ka ba?
Yes, okay.
Under the rule, they have to provide. Pwede mo silang ireklamo pag wala siyang safety officer.
Okay. And then event organizers also?
I'm sorry?
Event organizers also should have.
Yung event organizer dapat din meron. Pero kung meron ka na si venue, di ba? Dapat okay na yon. Ako, that's my personal opinion. Pero kung gusto mo ng twofold protection, importante na as an organizer, meron ka din. Importante rin, okay, that event organizer should be certified. Iba kasi pag ikaw mismo as an organizer, alam mo yung safety measures.
Yes.
Diba?
Yes.
Kasi, eventually, number one, okay, pag may nahulog dyan sa ceiling work mo, bumagsak sa lamesa.
Who knows what to do?
Sinong mag-asikaso? Diba? Pag ikaw organizer, alam mo kung paano gagawin, decision mo yan kaagad. Diba?
Yes.
Quick.
Yes.
Pero pag ikaw nataranta, ano ginawa? Baka tumakbo ka ng out of the venue. Paano kung may nasunog, may naganito, may naganyan, di ba? I'll give you a perfect example. See, there was a time in Shangri-La, Makati, naging news to eh. Okay, naging national news to. We had a fashion show. Tapos nasunog yung drapes kasi may nagsigarilyo sa likod. Okay? Pero magagaling yung safety officers ni Makati Shang. Alam ka agad yung ginawa. Lumabas yung safety officer, pinaalis lahat ng tao slowly, dahan-dahan, ganito, and then people were fixing that problem. See, dapat ganon. Paano kung wala kang safety officer, baka nagka-stampede ka na noon?
Correct. Walang crisis management.
No, walang crisis management. Importante yan, okay?
Okay.
Hindi lang kasi pwede na kung organizer ka, marunong ka lang gumawa ng magandang PPT na galing lahat sa Google o kaya sa, anong isa? Yung Pinterest. Okay? Honestly, ano ba qualification to be something like that, di ba? Right now kasi hindi pa natin ini-establish yan eh. It's only Davao who's establishing that part. Okay? And I salute Davao, okay? For doing that. Because they're really, as an LGU, they're really trying to professionalize the events industry. Importante, and I encourage everyone for your own safety and because this can be your game changer. People now will go for organizers and suppliers who value safety first and foremost. Ako ngayon, pag pumupunta ako sa mall, pag hindi, di ba? I mean, hindi mo ako pupunta ngayon. Pag siyempre, when you look at suppliers, tinitingnan talaga namin ngayon, si tracing na yan, may safety officer ba yan? Anong ginagawa niya? Anong ginagawa niya? Pag wala, sorry, pupunta kami sa iba.
Yes.
So, this is what we're saying. The only way to do this is tell clients, okay? You need to make sure that your event organizer is safety conscious. Okay? Because if we create this atmosphere in the events industry, can you imagine that we're gonna be so A1? Nakuha mo yun? Na lahat ng tao, ay naku, mag-events ka dyan, walang problema yan. Alam nila kung paano gagawin. Diba? So, yun. So, safety officer is very, very critical at this point. Moving forward, I don't think the pandemic will go away after a certain time.
Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. You need to make sure that you have a safety officer, and I encourage everyone. There are so many companies that encourage you to be that offer this kind of service. Okay, it's less than 2,005. Yes.
Okay. Before you move on to your next important point, itong certified safety officer. May question ako sa iyo, but I would just like to cite because the other day I was in a meeting with sasabihin na natin yung place, SMX Convention Center, because we have worked with them for years na, no? Natigil lang because of the pandemic. So I found out that in Pasay, the LGU, one requires all events, regardless of the event. I don't know lang kung pati ang wedding, ha? But if you will do it in a venue like SMX, one is you have to apply for the clearance in the LGU. So you have to have yung certificate of no objection, meaning may green light ka from the LGU. Number two, you have to have a certified safety officer on board. Correct. So that is the requirement of the Pasay LGU. And SMX has their own safety officers on board. Na kung wala ka, you will have to hire the safety officers to supervise your event. So, yun. But that's just one LGU nga. But hearing you talk, ito ba certified safety officer, Robert, is a recommendation or dapat talaga may ganito na for even for weddings? Is this something?
It's a recommendation as far as NLEC is concerned, but it is also part of a DOLE circular released in 2008.
All right.
Okay. Right now, certified officer should be present in all offices.
All right. Right. Okay. So
but it has broadened. What they're saying now is that events, including venues, should have certified safety officer. That's why tama si SMX na dapat meron talaga siyang certified safety officer, di ba?
Yes, meron siya.
It's
meron
also
siya.
good. Yes, we know about Pasay because we've si Pasay kasi we NLEC started talking to Pasay in certain events sana that we wanted to do on a test run. We wanted to do a test run concert, and we wanted we were already discussing with Pasay on how to go about this. And yes, that was one of the discussions that occurred, that the safety officer, and then that is an approval for each of the event. Alam ko certain. Okay, let's go back to your question kanina. Is Pasay requiring for everyone? I think
including weddings.
I think if it goes into a venue wherein it is part of DOT or LGU accredited, kasi lahat ng venue ngayon sa Pasay, di ba, LGU accredited or DOT accredited or both, diba? So lahat naman LGU accredited, they really require you to have a permit. Okay? Now, pwede na hindi na yung organizer, pwede na yung venue na yung kumuha. I know some venues are procuring that on behalf of the clients.
Or they assist, di ba? They assist the client in procuring. Yes. So, dapat pala sa mga nakikinig na Suntuweds, whether, kasi nga sabi mo, this has been a recommendation of DOLE. And we know naman sometimes it takes a while for us to catch on, no, and start implementing. I think it's also critical for people who are getting married or having a milestone celebration. Kung darating yung time, let's say by April 4, Lord willing, malift itong restriction natin. We have to ask if the venue has a safety officer. Tama ba? Ayan, medyo na offline ata si Robert.
Yes, but I think that is, actually I was going to say that's my key learning also, is that if you are married, it's important for you to check if a safety officer is available for you, whether in the venue or, yun nga, advantage yun na if your event organizer also has one.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I'm sorry nawala ako. I don't know. May napindot ako somewhere in the comments.
It's okay.
So I was looking at the comments and nalabas natin nawala. Okay, testing. Okay.
Okay, ayan. Testing na tayo. Ayan na.
Testing na tayo. Okay.
Ako, napakarami online na may opinion tungkol sa testing.
Okay.
Ayan, okay. So testing.
I'm sure nakita na ng iba kung bakit testing is critical.
Oo. Okay.
Pag hindi mo pa nakita kung bakit, pag hindi mo pa na-realize kung bakit testing is critical, hindi ko na alam kung saang mundo ka ngayon.
Okay.
Honestly.
Alam mo, Robert, I think I really find it every time, it boggles the mind. Yung sasagutin ka na, ayaw kong magpa-test, paano kung mag-positive ako? Diba? It really boggles the mind. I mean, that's precisely why we have to get tested. And if you are positive, alam mo ang yung necessary measures to take for you to get better. Di ba?
Yes. In fact, and like it's not in any of the requirements right now in any IATF, but more importantly, we have been recommending testing. If you look at all the shoots under the DOLE DTI and IATF resolution on events, yung mga shoots, testing is really part of it. It was not recommended. It was not mandatory, but it was recommended. So if you notice, lahat ng mga nag-shoot dyan sa mga shows and everything, they were all tested. So
yes,
this is very critical. Ang dami na nating narinig na, okay, nag-count kami sa NLEC. Okay, lahat na may nag-report na nag-positive, more than 100 na.
Suppliers to.
Suppliers.
Is this from the wedding industry in particular? Not necessarily.
I'm sorry?
Suppliers from the wedding industry or events in general?
Events in general, okay? You have technical, you have freelancers, lahat. Okay? Yun pala yung na-report sa amin, Okay, 100
yes, tama. Sa inyo pa lang. And again, the numbers, that number means there is still multiplication that will happen. Kasi obviously, may transmission pa yon. But, Sir Robert, sorry alam ko sabi nyo, hindi nyo alam kung hindi nyo pa alam bakit importante ang testing, kung saan po kayo. Pero pwede nyo po bang sabihin para sa inyo, bakit po importante ang testing?
Okay, importanteng testing ganito, okay? There are two types of testing kasi, okay? May tinatawag kang shoots na nasa bubble sila. Diba? Ito yung mga lock-in shoots, okay?
Yes, hindi dozens sila.
Okay. Yan dapat multiple testing yan, hindi lang pwede isang testing. Pero pag social events ka or essential events, since 8 hours and 3 hours lang naman yung duration, 2 days before testing is okay. Diba? Okay. Although it's not foolproof kasi pwede na nakuha mo yung virus and then hindi pa siya nagmanifest on the day of the testing. That's why tayo doon, Rona, yung sinasabi mo dati kanina, di ba, importante mask, importante social distancing, okay?
So, ngayon, I have experienced, Robert, na hindi nag-testing. Okay? It's a function or it's a social event, nag-testing. Everybody came out negative. So, ang challenge ngayon, marami nang ayaw mag-mask. Ang reasoning, negative naman kami.
Yun yung mali. Yun yung nangyari sa example na sinabi ko earlier. I have to go back to that na 12 nag-positive sa shoot. Kasi ay nag-negative naman kami lahat. 'Di ba?
Oo.
So hindi pwede na kami magbeso-beso, pwede na kami hindi mag-mask.
Yes. I think important din, no? Siyempre, we've been saying na, again, ulitin lang po namin, just because you had a test does not mean you can skip any safety protocol because it is still a pandemic. But, for example, if you were asked, kunwari, you're going to work or you're going to a social gathering and sabi nung host or kayo mismo, bride and groom, sabi nyo, okay lang ba magpapatest po bago yung wedding? Ngayon, I think what's important to say is, kahit po magpapatest tayo, required pa rin po ang safety protocols. Kasi minsan hindi yan nako-communicate as event organizers, di ba? Sasabihin lang, magpapatest po tayo. Pero wala yung kakabit na may test, but yes, we're still observing these things.
And also, let me also clarify. Testing, okay, there are two types. Again, national tayo. There are two types of areas. High risk, which is like NCR+, ang dami, car region. Yun talaga, we really, really recommend testing 2 days before. Meron ka naman tinatawag, let's also be fair. Okay? Meron ka naman tinatawag na low risk. Parang New Zealand type na sila, di ba? Nasa isang isla lang sila. Okay? Ilan tayong isla nga? Low tide, high tide, di ba? Parang 7,100. Yes. Diba? So, let's say nandun ka sa isang isla. Okay? Walang community transmission. Okay? Isang buwan na kayo nandoon. mag-birthday kayo. Hindi naman natin pwede sabihin sa'yo, magpa-test ka pa, di ba? Okay?
Yes.
So let's be realistic. So we are saying that testing is very critical to high-risk areas. Okay? Let me give you an example. May isang nag-shoot, I just don't want to mention, we admire this company with the way they do safety protocols. Nagdala sila ng, I think, 12 katao in an island in Cebu because they need to shoot for the Spanish government. Sa island ng Cebu na yon, parang there's like ilang tao nandun, around 200. Okay. Sila, bago sila pumunta ng Cebu, nag-quarantine muna sila sa isang hotel ng 5 araw. Tapos nag-test sila. Nung nag-negative sila, nag-fly na sila doon. Pagdating nila doon, nag-quarantine uli sila ng 5 araw kasi ayaw nila mahawaan. You see how responsible they are? Okay? Quarantine sila uli doon sa isla kasi yung isla walang community transmission.
Yes.
Nag-quarantine uli sila, RT-PCR, and then after that, nagpa-test sila. After nila nagpa-test, nung nag-negative na sila, meron lang silang bubble area, wala silang interaction. May sarili silang chef, may sarili silang supply, may sarili silang... Nag-shoot lang sila. Okay? I think they brought in around 4 safety officers na nagbabawal talaga, bawal dito, bawal dyan. See, yun yung responsible stakeholder. Diba?
Yes.
So that was an example of someone from a high-risk area na pumunta ng moderate or low-risk area. So again, testing is critical. Testing is critical especially for high-risk area. Ngayon may nagsabi, paano yan ang mahal-mahal? Again, yung sagot ko dyan, health or cost?
Yes.
Di ba? Ganun lang yan kasimple. Okay? Ngayon, kung hindi kaya ng cost, maybe you can postpone. Okay? Because there is always the brighter side of it. And this is, Rona, we will discuss in our next slide. Okay? So again, this is not just for you. This is for everyone. Do you think ginagawa mo to para sa sarili mo? Gagawin mo to para sa kasama sa bahay mo. Ako, nag-iisa ako sa bahay. I have a housemaid and a houseboy. Pero in the house, they still wear masks, social distancing, because I go out every day. Okay? Ako na yun, nag-iisa na ako. Okay? So, make sure also that hindi lang para sa iyo to. This is for everyone else. Okay? Ang hirap kasi some people still don't realize na akala nila they're safe because they are healthy. Pero hindi nila alam they are actually carriers of the virus.
Or I think it's also a challenge for us as a culture to think of each other. Aminin na po natin, bilang Pilipino, mas madali po sa atin yung, basta ako, okay lang yon.
Correct.
But, and in other cultures, we know this, we've seen this na, what I do affects you and what you do affects me. So, parang it polices you, diba? Parang internally, alam mo na, kailangan ko sundin para lahat tayo healthy. And this is the mindset, I think, that we really, really have to adjust as a nation, that it's not just about you and what you do, because until the last Filipino is not healthy, neither are you.
Correct.
Diba? Neither are you. You are not safe if there is still one Pinoy in here who's still not safe. So this is for all of us to follow. Ayan.
Okay, so ito na naman yung, hindi naman puro lahat ganyan, di ba? Meron namang brighter side of it. Yung nagsabing there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Okay? Yeah. There is always light. Let me just touch briefly about the one of Singapore. They are creating a very good model for events, which means simple lang yung gusto nila. Kung mag-i-event ka, either vaccinated ka na or may pre-event testing. In fact, you can do weddings, so 250 maximum. May concerts na 750. You see, there is light. Okay? Kailangan lang natin talaga i-accept ng reality that there will be conditions until we have reached herd immunity. Okay? Let me touch, ito yung pagka-accountant ko lumabas. Sandali ha, okay. Let me touch on numbers, okay? Filipinos are 110 million as of March 2021. Okay, 110 million tayo. Sinasabi nila, herd immunity 70%. Sige, 70% na lang. You need to vaccinate 77 million. Problema mo ngayon, is that based on survey, only 40% wants to be vaccinated. Okay?
So, Robert, may bagong labas na survey.
Ano?
16% na lang ang gusto magpa-vaccine.
Yun na nga, okay? Yung sa akin, na isang araw pa to, 40%.
Oo.
Diba?
Ang laki ng binagsak.
So,
last night they released a study that only 16% would really take the vaccine.
And we're already talking about free. This is libre, hindi ba?
Libre
It
vaccine,
doesn't
yes.
change anybody's mind.
okay, the reason why we're discussing this, because we need, the new normal is not anymore mask and face shield and social distancing. Okay? Let me go through the numbers again. 77 million kailangan mo i-vaccinate para magka-herd immunity. Sinabi ng gobyerno, government lang to pag government lang, they can do 200,000 a day. Okay? That equates to 6 million per month. I-divide mo ng 77 million divided by 6 million. 13 months yun. Bago
That's
ka
best case scenario. And we're talking best case scenario?
That's the worst case scenario. 13 months. Kailan yung bulk ng ano mo darating? May. So technically, pagkakaroon ka ng herd immunity, June pa ng next year.
Another year?
Okay. In the meantime, habang walang herd immunity, walang normalcy na tinatawag. That's the reality. Anong gagawin mo from now hanggang wala kang normalcy?
Magtatago. Hindi naman pwede kasi alam na po natin na nagugutom na po tayo. Gutom.
So, ito yung tama na balikan. I hope that, people like, we really hope that, the Singapore model would work, which is like the pre-event testing plus vaccinated. Then pwede ka mag-event. For me, that is going to be the new normal.
Okay.
Okay.
That's your prediction, tama ba?
Yeah. No. Basta kung sasabihin ng gobyerno, pwede na kayo, pero kailangan may pre-event testing ka at saka may or either vaccinated ka. Because that will also be happening to travel.
Yes.
Yes.
So the tourism industry will work towards this model. Okay? Kasi hindi mo naman, 'di ba, Sharon, Rona, hindi mo naman pwedeng i-disregard yung mga nag-vaccinate na.
Yes.
Di ba? Gusto namin nag-birthday, naka-vaccinate na kami lahat, hindi pa rin kami pwede.
Actually, CDC issued that, di ba? If everybody is vaccinated, tama ba?
Tama, oo.
You come across this, if everybody in your gathering is vaccinated, let's say a party of 5, pwede na silang walang mask. Tama ba? I think that's what I read.
Yes.
So that is going to be the new normal feeling ko habang wala ka pang herd immunity. Ngayon, that's NCR. So sinasabi natin, June 2022 pa. Okay, pero wag na muna natin isipin si national. Isipin muna natin si NCR.
Yes.
Okay. NCR, as of March 2021, 15 million. 70% lang yung kailangan mo i-gawing herd immunity. That is 10 million. Okay? 10 million, i-divide mo lang ng 6 months. Assuming 6 months lang tayo mag-vaccinate ng NCR, you need to vaccinate 1.6 million per month. 53,000 per day.
Per day.
Para January 2022, si NCR normal. Assuming everything works well. Na may vaccine ka, na lahat gusto magpa-vaccinate. Right. So in the meantime, anong gagawin natin? Kasi magkakaroon ng surge. Look at India. India, di ba, Sharon, we were discussing earlier, there is an Indian variant. India from 6,000 now up to 60,000 per day.
Yes.
Okay? Si Brazil had 100,000 the other day. Okay? Si US from 30,000 naging 60,000. 120 million na yung vaccinated sa US.
Robert, I would just like to point out that I appreciate you sharing the numbers. Because if you would go to social media, ang daming comments na parang tayo lang ang dumadaan nito. It is a fact that there is a surge worldwide. So hindi naman tayo destitute na bakit ang Pilipinas ganito? It is
No, hindi
happening.
lang tayo. Yung variant talaga.
Because, kasi, nag-mutate. So, okay, so, anong ibig sabihin? Nagbago yung karakter ng virus. Mas malakas na siya, mas nakakahawa siya. That's why worldwide, ito ngayon ang phenomenon. May talagang surge. And yeah, Robert mentioned, in the USA, 120 million vaccines already. And there was a point na bumababa na yung cases nila.
30,000.
And I was watching, 30,000. I was watching international news 2 nights ago. They were surprised. May unusual spike silang ulit despite vaccination effort. And when they took a look at what's happening, yung mga bagong cases already were caused by the new variants of the virus. So, wag rin po tayo masyadong mawala ng pag-asa or talagang ma-disgust na tayo na bakit tayo kasi Pilipino, kasi Pilipinas. This is happening worldwide.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, it's
And
happening.
even vaccination, even the topic of vaccination where people often say, sorry but we always hear this, kawawa naman po yung Pilipinas, wala na po tayong bakuna. We've had a guest, Dr. Anna York Bondoc has said a couple of weeks ago that it's a worldwide concern. You know, the supply is a
worldwide shortage.
Yes, and of course, it is also being worked on. But just to put ourselves in proper perspective, na yun nga, hindi lang po tayo ang humaharap ng surge at hindi lang po tayo ang bansa na humaharap ng kakulangan sa bakuna.
Yes, not just that. I mean, sinasabi nila sa New Zealand is doing it so well. Kasi, okay, iba kasi tayo compared kay New Zealand eh. Tayo yung isa sa countries na may pinakamaraming overseas contract workers. Okay? Si New Zealand, wala siyang masyadong ganyan. Kaya niyang isara yung border niya. Anong gagawin mo sa Pilipino na sa Saudi Arabia, sa Qatar, na wala ng trabaho, hindi mo papapasukin dito?
Yeah.
Ang laki ng economy natin that relies on OFW.
Correct.
That's just the model.
This is what we're saying. I mean, you know, we could have closed our borders because for me, personally, that was really the best decision. Okay? The best decision is to close your borders. Pero paano mo, yung virus kasi ibang klase, Rona, Sharon, akala mo negative ka na, tapos positive ka pala.
Yes, that's why we can't rely really on testing. There is a gold standard. And Robert, you keep on mentioning that all throughout, yung PCR test. PCR, yeah. RT-PCR test. Yan, mali ako. Yan. This is what you are recommending. I haven't heard you mention the antigen testing.
No. RT-PCR antigen. RT-PCR antigen, pag yun yung pwede mong i-test because maganda talaga yung gold standard which is RT-PCR. Pero pag nag-positive ka sa RT-PCR antigen, automatic out na. Then mag-RT-PCR ka. Okay? But then kahit yung mga tao na nag-positive, na nag-negative sa RT-PCR antigen, even sa saliva, hindi guaranteed na. I mean, hindi siya, there's no full proof, di ba? They're only saying 93, 96, 95%. Kahit na 97% pa yan, may 3% ka pa rin problema.
Okay. So, relating it to our industry, sa weddings, marami pa rin weddings ang hindi nagte-testing. Marami. But those that can afford and would have a budget for it, nagpapatest. So we would just like to point out, Robert just said 97%. I think that's the highest na accuracy rate. So whether that's the gold standard or yung mas lalo na kung that's the antigen testing, hindi pa gold standard, may percentage na pwede kang mag-false negative. So again, we have to repeat it because we see it. We see it on social media. They even posted, di ba, Robert? Nagte-testing, woohoo, I'm negative. Okay, that should not be your pass to let go of all the protocols na kailangan natin gawin. And, you know, I don't like, sana nga wag na gamitin yung term na minimum safety protocols. Wag lang gawin yung minimum. Kung kaya natin gawin lahat, yung maximum safety protocols, gawin natin.
Maximum talaga.
Yeah, because we will all go back to this and we're all suffering. The couples cannot do their celebrations, yung mga milestone celebrations. And then we're back again. Sunday night, ang aking social media page, ang makikita mo, emoji ng crying suppliers. Diba? Kasi sunod-sunod ng cancellation, sunod-sunod ng rebooking, yung mga ganun ba? So, this is really, we have to be united sa ganito. I mean, straight to straight. I think that's the way to go.
Yes, Sharon, and also we also been getting comments like, kasi si client ayaw. But you see, if it's an industry, we become solid na yung testing is required. Walang magagawa sa testing.
Honestly. Yes.
Bakit nangyayari sa shoots yan? Sa shoots, ganun ang ginagawa nila. Lahat sila ng testing. Although mayroong iba nakakalusot. Okay? Pero yung bulk ng NLEC is talagang hindi pumapasok.
Majority. Oo.
Oo. So, nangyayari, si client walang choice. Magpa-test.
Yeah.
If we become solid, because this is not just for us again, okay? If we become solid and tell people, pag hindi ka vaccinated, magpapatest ka. Diba? If we make that as an industry standard, na lahat tayo gagawa ng ganyan, diba, magsisafe, you feel safe. Hindi yung pag-uwi mo, matatakot ka, baka mahawaan mo yung...
Nauwi ako.
Diba? Baka mahawaan yung lola mo, lolo mo. May isang ganyan na pumunta siya ng wedding, and then after that, hindi talaga siya umuwi muna kasi natatakot siya kasi merong mga taong hindi nag-mask, yung suppliers. So enough, after 2 days may nag-positive. Buti na lang hindi siya umuwi. Doon muna siya, nag-rent muna siya daw ng isang cheap na motel or whatever. Doon muna siya, okay?
Para may matigilan.
O hanggang sa chinek niya talaga. Kasi takot siya umuwi eh. Okay? So see, responsable siya. Okay? Anything can happen. Okay?
Yes.
Si Ms. Sharon, I have questions for Robert about the new resolution.
Yes, so ito, this, I think may impact, and we're really hoping, Robert, na hindi na to ma-extend. But we also have to balance it with the reality that alarming ang increase ng cases ngayon, no? With 9,383. Is that right? Okay, so ito yung IATF resolution. You already mentioned na prohibited ang all mass gatherings, including religious gatherings. Okay, so that's very clear, self-explanatory. Wag na po nating what if, malinaw. All mass gatherings, hindi po pwede. Now, weddings are allowed. Dito po, NCR, yung bubble natin, plus yung 4 places, limited to 10 persons. Robert, 10 persons. That includes the wedding suppliers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And your officiant.
And officiant. Okay. So, yung magkakasal sa inyo, yung guests na gusto nyo na nandun sa wedding ninyo, and yung suppliers na pipiliin ninyo.
And churches are very strict now, yung church. Kasi napansin mo, si San Antonio yata nag-lockdown. Nag-lockdown. Wala naman siyang cases, pero sabi niya mag-lockdown siya. Kasi, di ba, for a while, si church allowing a certain number, di ba? Ngayon, di ba, na-realize nila, pati sila affected na now because ang dami nilang cases sa church.
Yeah.
So it's all over. It's all over. So people are realizing this. Okay? Dito yung sinasabi ko, pag hindi mo pa na-realize na yung search is really serious, okay? I don't know kung saan ka ngayon. Okay? I don't know talaga. Okay?
So yung 10 na to, Robert, itong 10 na to, applies to the ceremony, and if you'd like to have some sort of a celebration, let's say, dinner sa bahay, kasi bawal na ngayon, bawal ang dine-in. So I would suppose, if you want to have dinner, if you have a garden, maximum 10 yan.
Yes. In fact, also a number of villages have made certain resolutions wherein visitors are not anymore allowed, even relatives.
That's right.
A lot of visitors. So medyo mahirapan ka rin kahit sa bahay, kahit home. In fact, if you go back to maganda yung model again in Singapore kahit yung home celebrations are not allowed unless you do all the
required. Yeah.
Okay. Yun. Okay. Next question ko, ito. Meron tayo kasi na we cannot travel except for yung essential travel. Okay. So, kung magano ka, I will put on my glasses na. Hindi ko naman masyado mabasa ang screen ko. Yan. So, essential workers, they're allowed to go outside of Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna, Rizal, and NCR. Okay? So papakita mo yung work ID mo. So linawin natin, ang essential workers would be the frontliners, the health workers, the doctors. Okay, basta health, government officials. So huwag na natin tanungin, bakit si mayor? Kasi entitled sila to do that. Now, persons who will have to cross for work, for business, and going back home. Okay. Question. Wedding supplier ako, nakakuha ako ng booking, I am a coordinator, my client is getting married in Batangas on Wednesday. So am I allowed? Am I considered an essential worker who can cross the border, and will I be allowed to go home afterwards?
Very tricky yan kasi depende kung ano yung nature of business mo. If you're a video photographer, you need to go back to the GCQ. Ano ba yung allowed business? Okay? Ano yung allowed industries to operate under GCQ? Okay? If you fall within that, then technically, pwede ka sa bubble, di ba? Pero going to Batangas, that's another issue. Kasi technically, si Batangas na magde-decide kung pwede ka papasukin or hindi.
Okay.
Okay?
So
within the bubble, okay ka. Because you are allowed to operate under the GCQ model. Pero lalabas ka na ng bubble. Paglabas mo ng bubble, hindi na yung si NCR Plus magde-decide. Sino na yung receiving LGU? So ngayon, you take the risk. Diba? Kasi, pwedeng sabihin ni Batangas, hindi ka essential worker.
So within the bubble, let's say you're doing a prenup shoot in Cavite from NCR. That's allowed?
This is allowed because under GCQ, photos and videos are allowed.
Okay. Photo, video, ha? Yes. Iba-iba kasi ng tayo. Even if we're all in the wedding.
Pwede rin allowed din kami. Pag gumagawa ng nagtitinda ng bulaklak, you're allowed. Okay? Depende kung anong category ka. Okay? But again, what they're saying is, if it's something that you can postpone, then you postpone.
Do so. Right.
Yes. Do so. Pero hindi naman sinasabi ng gobyerno na huwag ka gumawa niyan kasi hindi naman yan. Yung sinasabi nga nila, the reason why you have the bubble is that so that, hindi mo ititigil yung economic activities, di ba?
Yeah.
Basta within the bubble, okay? Bubble. Pero syempre, hindi na pwede pag masahista ka, bawal na yun, yung mga ganun, okay? Those under the negative list based on the resolution are not allowed. But if you are in the GCQ industry wherein it's allowed ever since, then you are allowed within the bubble, okay? Kasi hindi naman tinitigil yung economic recovery, Hindi naman tinitigil yung economic facilitation, di ba? Tinitigil lang yung industries and businesses na may mass gathering that could spike the cases more.
Yes. Kasama po kami yung mga nagpo-produce ng mga bridal fairs because Robert, I also want to discuss this because we have been getting a lot of calls. Kailan ba kayo mag-on ground? Because we've pivoted to online. Kailan kayo mag-on ground? When it's allowed. Now, prior to Sunday, medyo lumuwag na ng konti. Nag-memo, di ba, na ang MICE can do this, 30%. So,
50% prior to Sunday.
Di ba? So, we can now do an on-ground, small one, and we were supposed to do the very first blended. Okay? But syempre, because may bagong guideline, na-supersede na yon. And kami, we have talked to our stakeholders and we have decided, let's move it to another day when it's better to have it. No, not now kasi may surge ka Diba? So para malinaw lang, for all the wedding suppliers who have been asking bakit hindi kami mag-on ground, because the nature of our business is really yung mass gatherings, diba? Face it, kaya naman kayo sasali sa isang bridal fair is you'd like more people to see your business, diba? So the more the merrier yan, which is favorite ni COVID, the more the merrier. So hintay tayo when it's the right time to go on ground again. Yan. So yan, with that, yan. Yan ang segue ko na yung ating pong on-ground event that we will be in cooperation with City of Dreams Manila, originally scheduled for April 10 and 11. please wait for the new dates. We will be confirming it as this is an evolving, ever-changing situation. But make sure that you check our website for updates and yung new schedule natin. But the online bridal fair, it's ongoing po and it's going to be monthly. Just to be very clear.
Bago ko pala makalimutan, mag-ano rin ako, mag-segue ako. Kung yung sa Dole Camp 2, may bago ng requirements na medyo mas less stringent. So go to NLECPH, yung mga na-deny, yung mga hindi pa nag-apply, just re-apply. Who knows, baka ma-approve kayo this time. Okay? Ito yung 5,000.
Congratulations sa sa NLEC for these things that you've been doing for the events industry in general, no? Ang laki na, grabing na-cover na before na hindi nakita yung mga problema ng events and yung mga freelance industry natin.
Yes.
So congratulations and
thank you
for being your voice.
Thank you also for all the trust and because at the end of the day, this is a concerted effort. Okay. The need was there. Sinasabi ko nga, the good thing lang about NLEC kasi yung mga conveners na nandoon ay hindi social media freak. Parang kayo namin ng ganyan. Okay, we just want to work and help, di ba? Okay, we want to make sure lang that at the end of the day, may legacy na iniwan, di ba? May legacy. That, the younger generation would use this as a model to further improve the state of events in the Philippines.
Okay.
We're gonna go after this pandemic. We're gonna go national. Okay, we're gonna make sure that we cover each region, each province. Okay, para later on, we have a cohesive events group, events organization that can really further, the improvement of our workers.
Yeah. That's something that we really look forward to. But yeah, I guess we will be wrapping up soon. But before we finally let you go, and I hope may part 2 to Robert, I just want to ask, and I don't know if it's a siguro recommendation. What I've seen kasi in the past month, unti-unti nagre-relax depending on your status of quarantine, di ba? Pero nakakaloka talaga nung Sunday, ang dami ko nakita mga sa social media, balik, parang wow, GCQ tayo ulit. And these are NCR people. Na parang feeling ko, kaloka, di ba? Ever since GCQ tayo, or there were some posts that said, parang pandemic ulit. Ako, oh my goodness, we are still in a pandemic. So please do not forget po na nasa pandemic pa rin tayo. So ito, and based on that, na-realize ko na parang may ganun tayong problem. And I don't know if this, again, nasabi mo na kanina, it depends on the LGU. But pwede kaya yun that we can also recommend, and I'm just throwing it out there, something to think about. Because what we've seen, when Manila stayed, NCR stayed under GCQ, and the nearby provinces, nag-graduate na siya to MGCQ, and they were allowed to have more guests, diba? Yung ganyan, bigger celebrations. Inikutan lang yun ng mga taga-NCR. They brought their events outside. Diba? Parang, 50 lang sa Manila, punta ako sa kasi 200, 'di ba? Punta ako sa Cavite. Sa Cavite, depende sa place, I can have 200, 300, 'di ba? If it's an hectare, 1 hectare big. Yan. So, 'di ba nakita nyo, di ang Cavite kasama sa bubble ngayon. Kasi ganun nga yung nangyari. I was thinking, Robert, like, while there's a pandemic, may merit ba yung, let's set, kung ang weddings, because Singapore did that. At tinitingnan natin model. My brother lives in Singapore. Lahat ng event, weddings, 20. From the time pandemic started, 2025. And I think yun ngayon, nag-i-issue na sila, regardless of what part of Singapore ka nakatira. 25. But because nag-vaccinate na sila, and yan nga, in place na nila yung testing, pwede na mag-increase based on what you showed us. Pwede na umabot ng 200. Okay? But if we do not have anything like that in place, pwede bang like Davao, nasasabihin na, ito lang yung number, okay? Regardless of the status. Now, syempre may mga venues na ang late nila. Tapos kunyari sinabi, example, let's put it at 50. Ang late ng venue. Diba? 50 is already more than half of their capacity. So, meron siyang maximum of 50 or X% of venue capacity, whichever number is lower. So, never tataas sa 50 yung guest. So that, hindi na rin iikutan na, uy, punta tayo sa Tagaytay kasi para mas malaki yung guest. I mean, I realize as I'm saying this, siguro marami magtataas ng kilay at magagalit na tinanggalan mo naman kami ng trabaho, 50 lang. I mean, mamili tayo. I mean, now, ang dami nating walang trabaho, 'di ba? So if you are a wedding supplier or an event supplier na ang ano mo is the more the merrier. Okay? So ano ba isa-side natin diyan? Probably yung food sector ng ating ano. 'Di ba? Mas maraming guests, mas malaki ang kita eh. 'Di ba? But now wala 10, 'di ba? Tapos marami pang tanggal diyan. I'm sure may marami na magdi-DIY makeup kasi 10 na lang ang pwede. I'm sure ngayon in Metro Manila wala mo ng wedding coordinator kasi 10 na nga lang naman eh. Diba? So,
yes, in fact, Sharon, I remember in August or September of last year, NLEC had a conversation with Congress and DILG and DTI. That was one of the recommendations that we raised to DILG. Bakit hindi nyo na lang gawin, let's say, hanggang December, I know hanggang December, gawin mo, pwede ka or hanggang October, pwede kang gumawa ng events hanggang 50 or based on the venue capacity, whichever is lower, di ba? Ganon, okay? So, ganon yung ginawa dapat. Yung sagot kasi sa amin noon is because of the structure of our government, which is LGU, wherein si LGU has the police power, kailangan mo gawin yan sa lahat. Remember, kahit na si DILG, nagpapalabas ng resolution, remember? Di ba nag-resolution sila na yung travel, hindi pwedeng wala ng testing. Nalala mo yan? Bawalan ng testing. Wala ng ganon. Pero si LGU still has the final say. Yun yung na-realize namin that the way our government is structured, hindi mo pwedeng gumawa ng isang itasugot president level. I think, okay, parang ganon. Hindi ako masyadong familiar with how it should be done, but then and again, si LGU has the final say. Kahit na si government agency pagpalabas ng
recommendation.
It was discussed. Sabi ko, December 100, okay? 100 across the board, 100 ganito, ganyan. Sabi natin, kailangan nyo ng. We discussed those so many options. Okay? So talagang it's really the structure, the way our government is the way the government is structured right now. Okay?
And siguro rin, yun, well, ako, I'd like to think also na not because hindi nila naiisip, but because wala rin naman silang insider info eh, di ba? We are able to recommend this because we know what's happening in our industry. And hopefully, if somebody catches this, you're from the LGU, you're from the Mayor's League, maybe it's something that you can consider. Because nga, I think, aminin natin o hindi, social gatherings, talagang source, pwedeng maging spreader events yan eh. So, we really have to put these systems in place. And sana mapag-aralan yon. If you know of anybody that will be able to hear this, please share this with us because I think us in the events industry, we're really willing to work and abide no yung ganitong guidelines because ayaw namin itong 2 weeks period, di ba Robert, na walang trabaho. Yes. Di ba? We'd rather have small projects na tuloy-tuloy than biglang mag-restriction and wala na naman, no income for 2 weeks or we don't know until when. So yun. Sa akin lang naman, I'm just throwing it out there because as you've said, Robert, this is the industry na probably the last one to be able to really bounce back in this pandemic. So we have to find ways to survive, but we also have to be very responsible with our actions. And I'd like to appeal to fellow wedding suppliers. Let's set let's be very good examples. Tayo yung mag-set na example because, you know, if they see us following good followers and we're also implementing, our clients will also do the same. But if tayo yung nakikita nila, the events experts, tayo yung violators, tayo yung, sige, magte-test at ayaw na mag-mask, they will do the same thing kasi alam nila tayo yung experts in the industry. Oh, pwede pala sa ganung social event. So, in my event, I will not mask up also. Yun. So, let's make it a point na tayo yung role models in the events industry, especially yung mga kilala, no, like Robert, si Robert, talagang ang taas ng standards. The big names in the wedding industry, I'm making an appeal. Because we really cannot afford to have periods like this na a lot of people losing projects, losing their jobs.
Agree. And then, you know, if we become more responsible, the government will see us as a responsible industry, and they will be more compassionate to us. They are already compassionate to us. Yes. So pag sinabi nilang ay responsable na ano yan, organization,
they can be trusted.
Na industry yan, they can be trusted. Okay? So, diba? So it's better for all of us.
Yes. Thank you, Sir Robert, for joining
us. Also, okay?
Thank you.
Parang hindi siya 1 hour and a half sa discussion natin. I always like, you know, discussing this with you guys because, you know, it's always very informative, okay?
Yes, naliwanagan po kami.
Feel at home talaga ako palagi, okay?
Thank you. Hopefully, I will say this again, that when we invite you back, it is to discuss guidelines that are more relaxed. But right now, of course, you know, the one thing I think we can all agree on, whether you are a wedding supplier, you are soon to wed, or just somebody who's tuned in today, let's please focus on the smarter decision rather than what we can get away with. And let's treat each other with the same kind of respect that we want. Meaning, kung tayo ayaw po natin magkasakit, alalahanin po natin ang kapwa nating Pilipino, ayaw din po magkasakit. So, our reminder here at the Love Wins Live Forum, syempre, 4 dapat, mask, hugas, iwas, at I think wash. Did I forget that? And we'll see you on April 10. We will not be here next Saturday. Of course, we hope you have a meaningful Holy Week celebration with your family at home. So we'll see you April 10 back here at the Love Wins Live Forum, Facebook Live, and YouTube.
Yes. Before we go, Rona, I would just like to acknowledge Ige Cruz, who has been with us since we started. Thank you so much, Ige. So, yan. Talaga sinubaybayan niya tayo. May mga comments siya. Sobrang intense lang, hindi natin napupull up yung kanyang mga comments. Thank you so much for watching. Robert, wag po magsasawa ang buong NLEC in doing all of this.
We have a mission. Alam mo, let me share you with this. I remember 10 years ago, Sharon, gusto na namin talaga mag-create ng events group. You know, an events-wide group na it took us some time because ang dami talagang ayaw. Alam mo yon. And then I realized, kailangan ba natin ng pandemic for us to come up to unite? I mean, you know, why do we need this? Okay, so I really hope that this pandemic becomes really an inspiration to all of us that we don't need a pandemic. If we think that, you know, there is a need to fight for something, kahit ano pa yan, gawin mo na right away. Okay, because that is very, very important.
Yeah, love wins all the time. Hindi lang po kasi love wins tuloy ang kasal. That's the essence of the show. Diba? Love wins because we love our fellow wedding suppliers. We love our clients and we choose to do the right thing. Love has to win all the time.
And
we'll see you.
The right thing. We'll see you on April 10.
All right.
Bye, thank you so much.
Have a great weekend, guys. Okay, enjoy.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.